Betrayal doesn't always come from strangers. Sometimes, it crawls out from the very walls of your home, from the people you trust most. I thought I had everything a man could ask for: love, family, and loyalty bound by blood. But life has a way of tearing apart illusions. When my wife's smile no longer belonged to me and my brother's shadow grew darker in my life, I began to realize the cruel truth. This isn't just a story of infidelity. It's a story of how love can twist into knives, and how betrayal can come from the ones you would die for. I grew up believing in family above all else. My brother and I shared everything, from toys in childhood to secrets as we grew older. He was my protector in schoolyard fights, my confidant in teenage troubles, and later, my best man when I married the love of my life. To me, he was more than a brother. He was part of my very identity. My wife, Anna, was the light of my world. From the moment I met her, I felt something shift inside me, like the universe had handed me its most precious gift. We built a simple but warm life together. Dinners at the table, laughter echoing through the halls, and plans for a future filled with children, travel, and unshakable love. Our home became the center of gatherings. Friends came and went, relatives visited often, but no one was as constant as my brother. He lived nearby and was always around, helping with small repairs, sharing meals, watching sports late into the night. I loved having him close. It reminded me of childhood, and it gave me a sense of security knowing family was never far away. At first, nothing seemed unusual. My wife and brother got along well, sharing jokes, stories, and sometimes cooking together when I worked late. I saw it as harmony, proof that my two favorite people in the world could coexist peacefully. But with time, subtle changes crept into my life, shadows I chose to ignore. Anna's laughter around my brother felt different, softer, more intimate. When I walked into a room, conversations would end abruptly, replaced with nervous smiles. My brother started visiting even when I wasn't home, offering excuses about helping Anna with chores or keeping her company. I brushed it off as paranoia, telling myself I was lucky to have such a supportive family. Still, a seed of doubt had been planted, and seeds, when watered by silence, grow into trees that block out the sun. The nights grew colder, even when we lay side by side. Anna's affection waned, her eyes wandering into a distance I couldn't reach. I tried harder, bringing her gifts, planning dinners, whispering reassurances, but love can't fill a heart that no longer beats for you. I didn't know it then, but the stage had already been set. The first Real crack appeared one evening when I came home early. The lights were on, music playing softly, but the laughter I heard wasn't meant for me. It was Anna's, warm and unguarded, the way she used to laugh when we first met. When I stepped into the living room, I found her and my brother sitting close, too close. They sprang apart when they saw me, guilt flashing across their faces before settling into forced smiles. They explained it away. Just reminiscing about old times, they said. My brother left quickly, and Anna avoided my gaze the rest of the night. That moment replayed in my mind like a broken record, each replay sharper than the last. Days turned into weeks, and my suspicions grew heavier. My brother visited less openly, but I could sense his presence in subtle ways. His cologne lingering in the hall, his jacket forgotten on a chair, his laughter echoing faintly from behind closed curtains when I arrived unexpectedly. I became a stranger in my own home. My wife's phone was glued to her hand, her eyes lighting up at messages she wouldn't share. The intimacy we once had dissolved into polite exchanges, like two actors playing a role long after the audience had left. I started questioning myself. Was I not enough? Did I fail as a husband? But deep down, I knew the truth was more brutal than self-blame. It wasn't about lack or failure. It was about betrayal, raw and merciless. The final straw came one rainy night. I returned home soaked, earlier than expected. As I approached the window, I froze. Through the blurred glass, I saw them, my wife and my brother, standing close in the kitchen, their bodies angled in a way that erased any doubt. Her hand brushed against his arm. His face leaned close to hers. And though I couldn't hear their words, The silence between them said everything. My chest tightened, my breath shallow. In that moment, I wasn't just a husband betrayed. I was a brother abandoned, stripped of trust and love in a single cruel glance. The truth finally unraveled in a way I couldn't ignore. I confronted Anna, though not with shouting or anger, just a quiet, broken voice that asked a single question. Why? Her silence was louder than any confession. She didn't deny it. She didn't beg for forgiveness. Her eyes, once a mirror of love, now reflected only distance. My brother avoided me, his presence fading like a coward retreating from battle. He never faced me, never gave me the dignity of an explanation. That hurt more than the betrayal itself. The absence of courage, the refusal to look me in the eye after tearing my life apart. I sat alone in the house that once felt alive. Every corner whispered memories. Her laughter at the dining table, his voice in the living room, my dreams in the bedroom. Now it was nothing but walls closing in, suffocating me with reminders of what I had lost. The climax wasn't a scene of screaming or violence. It was silence. The heavy, suffocating silence of realizing that the two people I trusted most had chosen each other over me. That silence shattered me more than any words could. In the aftermath, I was left with questions that may never have answers. How does love turn into betrayal? How does blood become poison? The wounds they left weren't visible, but they cut deeper than any blade. I moved on, but not without scars. Trust became fragile, love became cautious, and family became a reminder of both comfort and danger. I rebuilt myself piece by piece, learning that survival sometimes means letting go of the very people you once believed you couldn't live without. Betrayal changes you. It forces you to confront the darkest truths, not about others, but about yourself. You realize your strength not in holding on, but in choosing to walk away. To anyone listening, remember this: loyalty is a gift, not a guarantee. Never blind yourself to the signs, and never give your heart so completely that it leaves you defenseless. Because sometimes, the worst kind of betrayal isn't from an enemy at the door. It's from the ones already inside your home. So I leave you with this question. If the people you love most turned their backs on you, would you have the strength to stand on your own?